So when we decided to move out of Delhi, I think the hardest part was letting go of the security of a job, because I mean we had very fulfilling careers. We were both in the development space. We were working with NGOs. We were doing work that was helping people, in real time.
I've always liked being surrounded by people. And I've had a lot of friends in the city and would socialize a lot every weekend, you would always be surrounded by people. So I think the biggest doubt that I had in my mind was, would I be okay with a life like this?
What we used to do was we used to come to this place called as Kurpatal, which is about 6-7 kilometers from here. So we used to, come there, make that as our base and explore the local area. One of the tea shops we used to frequent on our weekend visits, we had told him that, we are looking out for land, and he had showed us some pieces before, and whatever, it didn't work out for various reasons. And then one weekend we were again here from Delhi, and we were actually going back, and then we had stopped there to have breakfast, I think. And then this was many months after he had shown us some land. So then we suddenly remembered that, oh, let's ask him again, if he's found something. So I asked him, we are still looking for a place. Did you find anything? Then he was like, oh, good, you reminded me. There is one farmer, he's become a little old and he wants to sell and move on. So do you want to come and see it? So I said, okay. Then he was like, he asked Aditi, do you stay here only in the shop? Because there is no road there, so you won't be able to drive. I'll take him with me. So I went, I sat on his bike, and then he started driving. And then when we reached the forest, Kacha forest track, that is the last 3 kilometers through this village, I literally had to hang on for dear life. Because it was, for the first time it was quite scary. It seemed quite adventurous, and I felt as if I could fall off any time into the, into the valley below. So half the time my attention was on keeping my place on the seat and not to fall off. And I didn't really register half the, route as well. But as soon as we, sort of stopped at the village parking and we got down, and then when we started walking down from the village parking towards this land, the entire ambience of this place really appealed to me. The view, the greenery, the variety of trees, and the rural sort of setting, the fields spread out. So that really sort of touched me. So you could say sort of it was like love at first sight. Initially, I think we loved being in Delhi. I came from the south. I moved from Hyderabad to Delhi, which I still remember. A lot of my friends were like, "Why are you moving to Delhi?" Delhi has, unfortunately, a negative impression, right? And they were like, "Why don't you stay in Hyderabad? Only work here, or go to Bangalore, work there." But I wanted to move because of the job, which seemed interesting, which is what I wanted to do then. So initially, Delhi, I think I was fine with it. It's a city with great infrastructure. There are a lot of institutions. There are a lot of cultural activities that happen. So initially, it was nice, but over time, one is the pace of life became, faster and faster. Commutes started increasing in time. You're spending a lot of time on the road, getting to work. And then, of course, eventually, Delhi pollution also started spiking in winters. While we were doing our respective jobs, we got to travel a lot to some of the most beautiful national parks in India. And that gave, sort of sparked this, let's say, thought process that, eventually we want to be close to nature and lead a slower life. And then, as is usual with most people in Delhi, whenever you get a long weekend or whatever, we would always be most often in the mountains, either in Uttarakhand or in Himachal. So that sort of developed our special love for being in the mountains. We love the calmness, the quietness of the mountains.
I think mornings are the best part of being here, because almost every morning is a slow morning because it does start slow. We usually get up, make tea, we sit in the garden for some time. Both of us, I think, for next 1 hour are either reading or doing something else or doing a little bit of gardening. After that, the day progresses, and obviously there are a lot of things to do. But mornings are and we often get up with chirping of the birds, so there is no alarm clock, or an alarm being set up to wake up in the morning. So it's the best part of the day, actually.
Yeah. So you feel sort of cut off. You feel as if you're living in your little private sort of, paradise. So that, I think, somewhere appealed to me, that given its remoteness, given, there is still no direct road access, it makes it very peaceful, very quiet. We don't even hear the sound of traffic here, or honking, or whatever it is, right? So it's only natural sounds. You're only surrounded by natural sounds, whether that's birds, whether that's a waterfall, whether that's the sound of the wind or the breeze. So I think that's something that really makes this place unique for me. So the land total cost we paid was around 25 lakhs. And then in terms of the construction, so we started with a very modest 12 lakh budget. So things kept adding up, and as our plans also kept changing, then the budget also started increasing, something like around 95 lakhs. Most of the funds came from either some of the savings we had. We had some mutual fund investments, so we redeemed that. But a lot of the running cost of the renovation we paid from our respective salaries. So it became like the salary would come, we would keep a little bit for our, to manage our life in the city, and the rest would be going straight away to the contractor to fund the expenses here. So that happened for a long time, where our monthly salaries were funding the construction. Then even that became less after a point. So then we had to go for a bank loan. So we took a bank loan, but even that in the end became less. Then a little bit towards the very end, when we were running short, my parents helped out a little bit. That helped us sort of with the final stages of the renovation. So the homestay revenue varies a lot. So on an average, I think we probably do somewhere around 15 lakhs in a year. Expenses are about 50% of that. So roughly we save anywhere between 50,000 to 1 lakh per month post expenses. So currently we do lump sum investments into some of the, the existing mutual funds we have. So in terms of our mutual funds, I believe in passive investing mostly. So it's mostly index funds to a large extent on the equity side, with a little bit of flexi cap exposure and a little bit of US market exposure. And then in the last 2 years, I've started building a small direct equity investments, mainly into low volatility blue chip Indian companies.
Most of our professional, career has been with the development sector. So when we came here, right from the beginning, we were clear that we wanted to give back to the area, now we call home. So that's how the whole idea behind Center for Learning came about. Because in our experience over the years, we realized that, there is not enough after school support. And what was also increasingly becoming very obvious was that a lot of children were opting out of science subjects. And mainly because it is considered difficult and there is no support after school. And a lot of them are actually first or second generation learners. So there's also not much support at home, for them to pursue that. So keeping that in mind, our whole initial idea was that, we will look at giving after school support for science subjects. So STEM was our focus between class 9th to 12th. So May 2025 is when we started the center. We had 2 children who showed up the first day, and we started with maths classes, and right now we have 5 different sessions that go on. So there are 2 science classes, there's 1 maths, there's 1 for physics, and that's how the center has been growing much more than what we thought it would.
Once the center started and the initial maths and science classes started happening for the older children from 9th to 12th standard, we started seeing younger children coming in, like children from 1st to 8th standard, also randomly sort of dropping in and telling us and the tutors that teach us also. We also want to come every day to be taught. So then we, seeing the interest, we thought, why don't we start something? But we didn't want to again make it a sort of a tutor or tuition class for these young children. We wanted to focus on creating an activity-based learning program for them. And then we discussed with their parents, and we explained to them that this is not a traditional school. It's not a school, it's not a coaching center. It's more of providing that after school activity-based support program to the younger children, so that they get better at communicating, they're better at peer-to-peer communication, they're better at public speaking, they're better at mental mathematics. And then in the last month, what has also happened very beautifully is that one of our earliest guests who had stayed, Rachel, she had stayed with us in 2019 in fact. She's from Bombay, and she reached out to us recently saying that I want to come and volunteer at the Center for Learning. And now she's volunteering at the center, and she's taking up spoken English classes for the children.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I teach at the CFL over here. It's a center of learning which is by the Fagunia Foundation. I have been traveling for the past 3 years. Ever since COVID hit, we basically had the opportunity to work from home. And since I love traveling and I always wanted to do something in the social service sector, I basically got in touch with Anil and Aditi. I applied as a volunteer over here, and I got to know about this opportunity to teach children over here, which is something that I always want to do, and that's my end goal. So the reason to leave the city is to move to the mountains and to have a peaceful life and to have good food and breathe fresh air, and just probably in the future build my own home.
So in our farming, the approach we've taken here is to follow permaculture. It's an approach to agriculture that tries to mimic what is happening in the natural world, and then you try and replicate it in your, in your agriculture. So it's all organic, it's all natural, it's regenerative, it's focused on increasing biodiversity, it's focused on trying to grow a lot of different things as per the season rather than doing monocropping, which is what typically modern agriculture does. So in permaculture, one of the key concepts is to learn by observing, whether that's the seasons, whether that's how how water is coming into your land, or how is water be flowing through your land, and how to sort of channelize that or manage that. So we've learned a lot by observation, and not just through what we've learned, but also observing other farmers in our area, because they've been living here for hundreds of years. They have been doing agriculture for entire generations. We talk to them a lot. We understand how they practice their agriculture, and through that we try and implement our sort of cropping as per the season, what plant to crop in which season, what should be the companion plants for that, how to prep the land for that. In this area, farm help is a little difficult to come by, so half the time either Aditi or I are also having to work in the fields. So for example, last winter we planted 90% of our onion crop by ourselves, which is, let me tell you, very back-breaking work.
And we now have a lot of respect for onion because every sapling has to be individually planted, and only one thing comes out of it. So I think after we did the first season, we did the onion sowing, we looked at each other and we were like, no more wastage of onion in this household. So now, and those are the things that you learn when you actually get your hands dirty.
So in terms of sustainability, from the beginning, we were very focused on it, because that's something we have a great amount of interest in. So when we were, actually, if we go back to when we were making the renovation and the construction of Fagunia, we focused on a lot on how we can reduce the environmental impact of our renovation itself. So during the renovation, not a single new slope was cut. New mounted slope was cut. We worked with the existing contours of the land so that we can reduce building pressure on the mountain slopes. not a single tree was cut during the making of the house. We also paid a lot of attention to how much of the old house material of the old house we could reuse. In fact, almost 90 to 95% of the stone we reused from the old house. Almost 80 to 90% of the wood from the old house we reused. We kept the same layout of the old house so that all this old material could be reused. All of our furniture is antique, refurbished furniture, most of it. In terms of energy, our backup is solar powered. Our hot water is solar powered. In fact, now we are fully solar powered. We also harvest the rainwater that we get from our rooftop. We harvest it and store it in an underground tank. And we also have a second additional tank where we can redirect the excess flow into it. All of our toilet fittings have water saving features. So our black water, the toilet waste, goes into a twin pit system where the waste is managed on site and where we can alternate between the pits. So once the one pit is full, we can close off the pit and the second pit is used, and the waste in the first pit, if you leave it for about 2 years, it becomes this beautiful natural fertilizer that's safe to touch and which we can use on our fields.
When it comes to the homestay part of it, we also are very conscious of what packaging of stuff that we are buying. So anything that is recyclable, we keep it aside, and when we are driving down, we take it to a recycling center. All the wet waste that comes out of the kitchen, goes into composting. So that for sure is done. We also request our guests that any single-use plastic that they are bringing with them, if they can take it back with them. So that those are some of the things we follow. And obviously our whole aim is to also consume less, be more dependent on fresh produce.
So in terms of raising children or having children,
it was a conscious decision for us to not have children.
This was a personal decision. I mean, if we had ever decided to have children, we would have raised them here, because it is a great place to raise children, to give them that connection with nature, to teach them how food grows and what is the relationship with food and all.
I think living here in a remote location like this and a little secluded has definitely made our relationship stronger, because for the longest time I think we've had and we still continue to have each other as the only company that we have, whether you like it or not. but so in a way the relationship has really grown. So it's not transactional. There we also get a time to discuss a lot of deeper things in life as to what we want for ourselves, or where do we see ourselves 10 years from now or 15 years from now. So those conversations I think happen more often because we have the time and luxury of spending that time with each other. So I think it's the joy of little things that a life here brings, and it again boils down to what do you value more in your life. I mean, for some people, buying the newest iPhone or buying the biggest possible, most expensive car might bring you that joy, and that's fine, because that is who you are. So it's also important as to who you as an individual are and what is it that brings joy to you. So I think for us, the whole being close to the nature, being able to grow our own food, leading a very slow life, breathing fresh air. So those are the things that we prioritize in our life, and I think that is what we always wanted to do, and live a life like that. I think the most important thing is to have the luxury of time to be able to do what you want to do. I mean, there are times when you want to do nothing, but do you have that luxury to be able to do nothing and just sit for an hour and get bored? So I think that's the biggest win that we have. And it's not a race. You're not competing with anyone. You can do things at your own pace. I mean, if you have to do 10 things and if you're able to do only 2 today, it's fine. You can do it tomorrow. I think that itself sort of calms you down in terms of as a person and sets the rhythm for you for the day, for your life.